Welcome to the first part of Session 3, Mindfulness of Emotions. And our aim during this course is to learn to welcome all of our emotions, and we're going to do that by building emotional awareness skills and by doing several practices in how to manage them. But first of all, let's remind ourselves, what is mindfulness? And this is the definition we've been using throughout the course, that mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. And we teased out three key concepts of this mindfulness definition. The first one of paying attention deliberately. Secondly, we're being in present time. And thirdly, that we are non-judgmental. And we'll continue to explore these concepts through the lens of emotions. So, emotions. This is a very basic definition of emotions. That they're a psychological response to stimuli in the body and brain. We all feel emotions. Sometimes they're quite superficial, sometimes they're passing, sometimes they might be very deep. But all of them are a response in some way to some kind of stimuli. And that's what we're going to continue to explore during the practical exercises. So emotions are, well, they're activated by responses in our environment. Maybe sounds or smells. Maybe we're getting anxious because we've got an upcoming appointment and we don't want to be late. Emotions are also responses to what's going on in our mind. Maybe certain thoughts we have trigger emotions. Maybe memories from the past can trigger emotions, and so on. They're just one part of our whole being. Now, emotions are very normal, very necessary. They can often provide us with quite important information about what's going on within ourselves and what's happening in the environment around us and the people we're dealing with. And we often find them indispensable when it comes to making decisions. For example, we may go into a place where we feel slightly anxious or afraid. And it's our emotions warning us that there's something not quite right about this environment. Maybe someone can say something which makes us angry because they've crossed over a boundary that they shouldn't have. And maybe there are certain activities which fill us with joy, and they're the ones where we should be dedicating our time and resources to. So, key things to take away from this is that emotions are stimulated by certain activities. They are responses in our body and mind. They're part of our whole self, so we can't ignore them or suppress them or want them to go away. And they're very normal and necessary to our healthy life that we're living. So, emotional responses. What I'm going to be doing is scanning through 4 different images. Now, for each of these images, what I'd like you to do is write down what they make you feel and go with your first instinct on this. Now, if you're not sure about how to list emotions or whatever, there is support in the Session 3 student workbook where you can find a list of different emotions and feelings. And you may want to pause the video if you need to go and get that. So, write down the emotion each image elicits in you. And there might be more than one emotion that an image elicits. There are no right or wrong answers to this exercise. They're simply your answers. And I will pause for a few seconds on each image to allow you to do this exercise. Now, how do we live mindfully with our emotions without allowing them to overwhelm us or dictate how we behave? Now, some stimuli can be very strong. They may elicit strong emotional reactions. They may linger around for some time after the event which triggered them. And certain emotions can often form a trigger for other emotions to come in. So we're going to be moving on to an exercise. And with this practice of mindfulness of emotions, we're trying to develop our emotional awareness. And with practice, we can notice that we're experiencing emotions. We can give a name to them. We can learn to be curious about them. And we can see if there's an opportunity to learn from them. Now, it's important to stay open and aware of our emotions, seeing emotions as what we feel, not who we are. And that process can lead us to understanding more closely the difference between our emotional reaction to things and who we actually are. So here are some examples. We may feel angry at what someone has said, but we are not an angry person. We might feel tired because we've had a very busy day, but we're not a lazy person. We may feel afraid sometimes, but we are not habitually a fearful person. So these are some examples of the difference between the emotion, which is a response to the environment, and who we actually are. And this is what we call emotional awareness. And in a moment we'll be moving into another guided practice where we're going to be sensing into different types of emotions so you can get a feel for what this means. So during this practice we're going to be sensing into our body, and we're aiming to bring to our awareness emotions that might be there. The aim is to visualize these emotions and understand them alongside their physical sensations. And notice, are there any particular thought patterns which go with certain emotions? We're going to learn to mindfully tune into our emotional experience, and in order to separate ourselves from the power that it might have over us. So as with all our guided practices, this is something which does require your full attention. So pause the video if you're busy doing something else. I'd like you to sit upright in your chair with your hips 2 to 3 inches above the level of your knees. You can have your feet flat on the floor and rest your hands in your lap, but don't interlace your fingers. You can close your eyes if you wish to, If not, just gaze softly down towards the floor. And without changing it, become aware of your breath as it rolls in and rolls out again. And we're going to begin this practice by inviting you to recall a recent joyful experience that you had. Something that made you happy. And visualize the details of that experience. And allow it to have space in your mind and in your body. And continue just breathing normally. And investigate the experience a little more closely. Just what is this joy? Notice any bodily feelings associated with it. Are your shoulders relaxed? Has your breathing changed? Do you feel warm or cold anywhere? Now tune into the mental state. Are you calm? Are you activated? Are you agitated or at ease? And just spend a few moments familiarizing yourself with joy and happiness and how you experience it in your body and in your mind. And if you now let go of that joyful experience and just return to your breathing for a moment or two and become aware of your breath as it rolls in, pauses for a moment before rolling out again, and pauses for a moment before coming in again. And now brings your attention an unpleasant experience. Not something traumatic, just something that's slightly unpleasant, maybe annoying or frustrating. And investigate in your mind and body just what that feels like for you. Scan your body and notice, are there any areas that tense up? Are there any areas that feel different, that have specific sensations in them as a result of this unpleasant experience? And is there a particular part of your body that this kind of experience goes to? Now tune into your mental state. Are there any thoughts or thought patterns that are accompanying this experience? And now just give it all a sense of space, a sense of awareness that there is this unpleasant experience and what it feels like for you. What sort of things do you think about? And so on. And now let that unpleasant experience go. This brings to an end this part of the practice session. So just become aware of your feet on the floor. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting in. You may want to wiggle your fingers. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths. If your eyes are closed, you can open them now and become aware of the environment that you're in. So let's spend a few moments just reflecting on the practice we've just done. Do you feel that your body and mind are connected? That they're responding in a coherent way to the experiences we played with there? Or are they disconnected? Is there a feeling that there is a big difference between perhaps your mental state and your physical response and so on? And did you notice that there are any similarities or quite clear differences between a pleasant and unpleasant emotions in your body? So you may want to pause the video and just make some notes on those, or just think about that. In a moment we'll be moving on and doing our next practice, which is an emotional body scan. So, this is our next practice, the emotional body scan. And the aim of this is to be focused emotionally on the body. That is, we're going to notice any emotions that may be present in different parts of our body. And the aim of this is to develop awareness that they're there, and also allow us to label them. If you feel the need to move during this exercise, feel free to do so, or you may pause it or take a break as necessary. As with all our practices, you need to give it your full attention. So I'd like you to sit upright in your chair with your hips 2 to 3 inches above the level of your knees. Get those feet flat on the floor. You can rest your hands in your lap without interlocking your fingers. Close your eyes if you wish to, and if not, just have a soft downward gaze toward the floor. And without changing it, become aware of your breath as it rolls in and rolls out. Okay, we're going to begin this exercise by bringing your attention to your feet. And notice any sensations there in your arches, in your toes, in your heels. And if there are any motions there, give them a label. Now notice your sensations in your lower part of your legs, the calves, the shins, the knees. Again, notice any sensations there. Are there any emotions there? If so, give them a label. Now let's move on to the upper part of our legs, to the thighs, the hips, the pelvic area. Again, are there any emotions there? If so, give them a label. It may be that in some areas of your body there's more than one emotion. If so, make sure you label all of them. Now notice your sensations in the belly and waist, in the lower part of your back. And if you discover any emotions there, give them a label. Notice any sensations in the middle of your back, around your ribs and chest. And again, if you find any emotions, label them. Now notice any sensations in your shoulders, your upper back, your arms, your wrists, your elbows, your fingers and hands. Are they holding any emotions? If so, give them a label. And now notice any sensations in your neck and throat, around your jaw or mouth, your nose, your eyes, ears, and the whole of your head. If there are any emotions present, give them a label. And now choose one area of your body which is speaking to you the loudest. Allow your attention to settle there and begin to label the emotions once again. And as you notice the sensations, move towards them with curiosity. Explore its source. Is it coming from the body? Is it being generated from your mind? Is it a combination of both of them? And notice any movement and any changes that happen as a result of you putting your attention on it. And separate the sensation, your awareness of it, and the label that you've given it. And remain with this awareness in this area of your body for 5 slow, steady cycles of your breath. And I'll pause for a few seconds speaking to allow you to do this. And notice the space between the physical sensation, your awareness of it, and the label you've given it. And do this again for another 5 slow, steady cycles of your breath. And once again, I'll be silent while you do this. And release your focus from that one area and return awareness to your general breath and your body as a whole. And that brings to an end this particular exercise. Become aware of your feet on the floor, aware of the chair that you're sitting in. You may want to wiggle your fingers and take 2 or 3 deep breaths. If your eyes were closed during this exercise, open them when you're ready and become aware of your environment as a whole. Okay, let's move on and reflect on that exercise. So were you aware of any special needs in order to feel safe, calm, secure, and or focused? And you may want to journal on this, or journal on the practice you've just done. Or you may just want to mentally note what happened for you. And this draws to a close part 1 of session 3. I look forward to joining you in part 2, where we will explore emotions and mindfulness more deeply.